Hello, this is Hervé from Comic Book Bin, Philly Win since 2002. We're going to be looking at Jinx today. Jinx is the Arishikage ninja who's a cousin of Storm Shadow, Snake Eye's opponent. She was trained by the Arashikage ninjas family. She's one of the heir of that family. She joins G.I. Joe later. She's a ninja just like her cousin, but an ally to the G.I. Joe team. In the cartoon version, in the 1987 G.I. Joe movie, she was a full-fledged G.I. Joe member, and none of her affiliation with the Arishikage were mentioned except for the fact that she had a blind master, and we do know that there is a blind master also who is a member of the Arishikage. In the movie, she was romantically paired with Lieutenant Falcon. In the comics, she was not. She was more on the Snake Eye team. Let's look at her further. The original Jinx action figure came with one head only, which was a masked ninja head. She was dressed with a full body ninja gi. That figure had been reused to create Vipra much later. She's nowhere near Akiko, whose build was used to create the Blue Ninja and Vipra. It's a completely new sculpt. Thank God. I do find that a bit surprising that the sculpt has not been reused by Hasbro, since it's so much like the Blue Ninja, Akiko, and Vipra mold. It would have worked, but I think some fans would have complained that Hasbro is reusing some parts a bit too much. So here they are reusing all new parts for Jinx. We should be very happy for this. Now, given that, we know that they'll have to reuse this sculpt with other characters. Maybe red female ninjas. That would be cool. Who knows? I think they should have waited to create Vipra with this new mold instead. This would have linked Vipra, who was a repaint of the original Jinx, a bit further. That's not what they chose, but we know that we will see this sculpt in the future. We just know. The main difference between this figure and the original one is the backpack. She doesn't have a backpack here. She only has one sword. The original had a huge backpack and two swords that you could use, as well as this weapon, this handheld weapon, staff, bow, whatever it is that she has. About the sculpt, the face is obviously the best part of the figure. She's beautiful. She's very feminine, even though she has short hair, in a way that was not seen with Lady J. Lady J looks a bit tomboyish. She looks just right. I'm not a fan of the type of pants that she has where the thighs are very huge and puffy and the shins and calves are very slimmed down. I don't really like that style, but that's a ninja style, so I'm good with that. Now I've been looking carefully and I cannot find any of the parts used with Jinx on Vipra, Akiko, or the Blue Ninjas. I thought maybe the arms would be the same, possibly even the same as Zerana's. So far, and I'm saying so far, I could be wrong, they appear to be completely different. They appear to be new arms completely. That's good. Her torso is beautiful. They've decided to give her a one-piece shirt and sack belt. They appear to be stuck together. It's just one part, one piece. It's not two of them, which is why you probably cannot move the belt down the waist. She's very slim and much taller than Akiko, the Blue Ninjas, or Vipra. Nevertheless, if you have a ninja display, she'll look great with them. Can't wait to pause her with the other guys. Most of the plastic is the basic red plastic used. You'll notice that the plastic on the knees is not the exact same hue of red as the thighs or the shins. That's quite common for a G.I. Joe action figure. Unfortunately, the plastic is often not the same. Wherever you see skin, it's the basic flesh tone plastic, except for the hands, which are made of black plastic and painted over. You'll see hues and traces of the black plastic underneath the paint, which means that they didn't use paint that was thick enough to hide the black plastic underneath. The hair appears to be a plastic piece that was glued on top of her head, which is why it's black, although her head is flesh tone. When you align the thighs where there's a swivel, you will notice that the curves and the folds don't quite align perfectly, especially with the paint. The paint seems off compared to where you see the folds. If you adjust one, you can't adjust the other one. The other one looks off, unfortunately. They don't line up perfectly. It seems that the shape were not well proportioned here. That's a bummer. Now, Jinx is slightly taller than her female ninja counterparts. That's good. If I'm not mistaken, the Blue Ninjas and Vipra are the shortest G.I. Joe classified action figures around. I'll have to check for that. Jinx is quite stable. It's very easy for her to be this way since she doesn't have a backpack, and the sword that you can put on her back is very light. So is the holster. So she won't have problem standing standing. I've had a lot of problem with the blue ninjas and stability. They always fall. Their ankles are weak. Jinx doesn't seem to be made from the same cloth. That's good. In terms of articulation, she has double elbow articulations and they're smooth enough. She also has butterflies. They seem a bit stuck on my version. They don't move quite a lot and quite less than a blue ninja or Vipra. The neck can move a bit, but not too much. She can look up, down, and she can have a little bit of attitude. That's good. Her mask head, which is more reminiscent of the original Jinx, whereas the maskless is more reminiscent of what we saw in the G.I. Joe movie, appears to be the same in terms of articulation. You can rotate or so, but it doesn't move as much as it could. And while there is a ball joint at the waist, it seems very stuck also. It's not as flexible as I wish it could be, and far less flexible than a Blue Ninja or Vipra. That's unfortunate. It's clearly not the same sculpt underneath either. She can do the split really well. She does have drop down hips. It seems that the way Hasbro is doing the drop down hips right now is tighter, so you don't quite see it as much unless you really push for it, and I like that. The swivel at the thighs, like I mentioned, is not aligned properly with the sculpt and it looks a bit off. The double knee articulation are quite smooth, no problem with that. There is a shin cut just underneath the knees. It's well hidden, so you won't see it. I like it. Obviously, your ankles can rotate and pivot in many different ways. I feel that those could eventually be a bit loose. The bandana and sack are in a rubbery-like plastic. The weapons seem quite straight, and that's good. They're not, unlike other classified action figures, they don't seem to be bent out of shape. That's good. She comes with several weapons. The sword and the sword holster were reused with other figures in the past. It's painted silver, so that's good. I like when they paint it a different color. It is not the same sword that came with the Blue Ninjas. The handheld bow staff weapon is fine, I guess. She comes with two pairs of hands. One pair is a fist. The other one is the grabby type that allows her to hold a staff or a sword. I like the fact that they gave us two heads for her. That head can be reused on another character like Vipra or one of the Blue Ninjas. If you want to individualize them even more, you could use that with them. It'll look good. She came in the new G.I. Joe streamlined packaging, the same one that's used with Marvel Legends right now. So it's a smaller footprint of a package, but everything was within view, good enough. Some art. I'm not a package guy, so that package already in the recycle bin. She's a standard $25 or $34, $33, $35 Canadian, 25 US. Even though she comes with two different heads, most of her is new. She does reuse her sword. It's probably from someone else. You shouldn't have problem finding Jinx. She's a female figure, so she may peg warm a bit. I'm not sure if Hasbro made many of her. I will say she's a great figure. She's nice and a good addition to any collection. She should be easy to find, like I mentioned. If you wait a bit, she will definitely peg warm and be reduced, so will be cheaper to obtain. I'm not on the ninja side of the G.I. Joe world, although I do have so many ninjas that maybe what I just said has no meaning and no value since I've got tons of ninjas here. What I really mean to say is that I'm not a fan of the ninjas, but I buy several of them regardless when they're good, and that's what happened with Jinx. She's also a classic character for G.I. Joe, so that's one reason to get her. She was prominent in the movie and in the comics. She's been there in several iterations of the live action film and other versions of the cartoons, so Jinx is not an unknown character. She's been in the background for years. So if you ask me, I can't have a full G.I. Joe collection without having a Jinx, and that's why she's here. I like her nevertheless. This is Hervé from Comic Book Bin, filling you in since 2002. Like and subscribe.